Alright, welcome back to Dinopedia, entry number 45, the Therizinosaurus. Remember to like if you like, and subscribe down below for more videos. Alright, so the schedule as always is to look at the Ark Survival Therizinosaurus, look at tips and tricks for the Therizino, potential add-ons for the Ark Survival Ascended and Ark Survival 2 releases, and reworking for my new game, Dino World. Let's get into it. So the Therizinosaurus in Ark Survival Ascended is an animal, so Kingdom Animalia. Its group is bird. It's not a dinosaur, it is a reptile. No, sorry. It's not, it is a dinosaur, it's not a reptile. So it is considered a dinosaur, but like, it's not really like part of the main group. It's not a reptilian dinosaur, it's a bird. And its description is long clawed, because as you can see here, its claws are super huge. So, it's basically the prehistoric Wolverine bird. Traits in the game, it's aggressive towards players and carnivores that come near it. Rarely spawns in groups of 2 to 3, so it does have a rare pack spawn. Once triggered, it will never stop targeting or following the player, even if you escape. So basically, even if you do escape and it stops chasing you, even if you wander back into its aggro range, it will immediately come for you. So basically, you've made an enemy for life if you come up near one of these things and trigger it. So Therizinosaurus in Ark Survival Ascended has a huge stat block. It has a health of 870, stamina 300, oxygen 150, food and water 3000 each, weight 365, melee from the claw attack is 52 base, while the bite attack is 5 damage based. It also has a walking speed of 4.66 meters per second, with a swimming speed of 3.3 meters per second, and a torpor of 925. So of course, it has many utilities when it comes to harvesting, because Therizinosaurus is seen as one of the best harvesters in the game. Its Mega Harvest can harvest all resources faster and most efficiently than any other creature from mining or harvesting, not from corpses or other dinos. So it can't harvest corpses pretty well, and it cannot harvest from other dinosaurs very well, but from trees, and from stone, and from bushes, and from oil nodes, and other nodes, then yes, it is the most efficient at gathering all resources. So use it to gather resources, and then use other dinosaurs to carry those resources, because Therizinosaurus, while it can carry some, cannot carry a lot. Also, number 2, multi-mode can switch from the Power Harvest normal mode, which is the Mega Harvest that we already talked about, to 2 other modes. Delicate mode collects plant resources most effectively, can collect normal resources from corpses such as oil, pearls, elemental electronics, etc. This does not include meat, unfortunately, but if you're killing a tech dinosaur, then of course it can harvest those corpses and get you all the such oil, pearls, elemental electronics, etc. from those tech dinosaurs very, very efficiently. It also has a bite mode, which bite attack harvests resources at ×3 plus deals damage to nearby creatures. So that's just the secondary ability that can kill things like small dinosaurs like Dimorphodons and copies, while harvesting all resources at ×3 instead of just ×2.5, and does some damage, of course, to defend itself. So some tricks: auto harvest, similar to the mode shops, that can be set on wander to auto harvest nearby nodes and harvestable items, and will return when full on weight. So think of it like a resource scout. It'll go out, get some resources, and come back. And the number 2, veggie power. Since it's a herbivore, it can be healed with veggie cakes in battle, allowing it an easy way to stay alive for longer than most carnivores. This is very important because veggie cakes are used to keep brontosaurs and titanosaurs alive, making them basically infinitely healthy. This is used for trikes in the same way. You can also use it for Therizinosaurus, making them pretty much one of the best battle mounts in the game, because you can load them up with veggie cakes so they stay alive, because veggie cakes not only heal their food up very quickly, but also heal up their health by a certain percentage. So this keeps them alive while also keeping you alive, because if you're riding it, then obviously, you'll be riding a pretty much indestructible killer for a limited time. So potential add-ons I'd like to see added to Ark Survival Ascended and maybe Ark Survival 2. I think the claws should be able to hold 2 small creatures in its hands, using its claws as grabbers. I feel like that's something they could add. Number 2, impaled. If the Stego's tail can impale players, then its claws, which are long as hell, should be able to impale through targets when used to attack, piercing through to other nearby entities. Basically an armor piercing plus a impale impaling attack, I think that would be good, considering that it's literally just three big spikes on each hand. And then number 3, berry composter. Actively compost berries and seeds in its inventory. If it's a berry harvester in general, I feel like it should have this because, I mean, it's basically just a walking harvesting machine. So it's like a walking harvester. So I feel like it should be able to compost as well. So the Ark Survival Therizinosaurus versus the Jurassic World Therizinosaurus. I will say that the Therizinosaurus looks better in Ark because it's furry and looks like a little bit more, bird-like, because it is a bird, it isn't a reptile. While the Jurassic World one is pretty dang cool, I do think that the number one problem is that it doesn't have feathers like the Pyroraptors do, and therefore you don't really know it's a bird instead of a dinosaur, because you'd be like, oh, it's just another reptile. It's like, no, it's a bird. It's supposed to be a bird, but it doesn't look like a bird in Jurassic World. Now that may be hybrid, I don't know, but it does have some feathers now that I look at it on its arm right here, but it doesn't have feathers all around it like the Ark one does. So the Ark one takes the cake on this one, but the Jurassic World one is really cool. And then the Dino World one is just a Jurassic World one, but with more feathers. I actually think the Ark one is still the better one, but ours does look a little bit more intimidating with the Jurassic World type head and the different color furs with the longer claws than the Ark one does. So the Therizino in Dino World obviously has a shortened name to Therizino instead of Therizinosaurus. There's 2 types. There's a normal Therizino, the wild and tame dino variant, and the mutated Therizino, the product of 2 tame Therizinosauruses, mating, breeding, and egg laying, plus a gene computer to generate these mutations. Of course, the Therizino in Dino World is an animal, kingdom Animalia, and in the group bird, so it's basically a big-sized bird. And then, of course, its class is large bird, and in the family of large clawed bird, which includes the Dinoceras and the Therizino. So, of course, these stats in Dino World are a little bit changed from the Ark, but not much. The health is 900 instead of 870, the weight is 400 instead of 365, the melee is 50 base with 5 staying the same. Its speed is a little higher at 5 meters per second walking speed instead of 4.66 meters per second, and the torpor is a little bit lower at 900 instead of 925, with a fortitude of 2. So of course, in Dino World, the grabbing claws and impaled traits that I wanted to see added to Ark Survival Ascended is in Dino World. But of course, there is also a blind spawn. So building off Jurassic World, the Therizino in that movie was blind. I think that there should also be a blind Therizino that has heightened senses and attacks with ferocity and adding a bleeding effect. So it's basically a blind Therizino that stalks you. So if you see it, it'll basically be very rare to see in the wild, but when it does, it will stalk you. So it'll always continue to follow you because it can always sense you, and attacks with ferocity with added damage and an added bleeding effect as well. So it's a more dangerous Therizino to come across. But it is blind, so gotta give it some things. And then number 3, cultivator can harvest crop plots and bushes with ×5 efficiency at max, turns compostables into compost in its inventory, and can replant crop plots as it walks on them with seeds. So basically, it's a personal base harvester. It can harvest crop plots, it can turn compostables into compost, and can replant crop plots when walking over them. So basically, you can have auto farms with Therizinos in your base. And then it has a combat ability called Hold, where it holds onto and immobilizes a creature for a limited time, inducing bleeding as well with its large claws. This can be any dinosaur of any size, and it does have a 30-second cooldown because it is still a combat ability. And the final thing we're going to look at is Dino World spawns to the main map of Europa. Obviously, the color-coded spawn rates are blue for very guaranteed to spawn, green very likely to spawn, yellow few likely to spawn, orange rarely to spawn, red very rare to spawn, purple for dead carcasses to spawn. So of course the Therizino is more of a jungle predator, and so will rarely spawn in the northern and eastern jungles, as well as it will rarely spawn on Herbivore Island. Since it is a herbivore and only eats berries, it still technically classifies as one and is allowed to live on the herbivores only island. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like if you like, dislike if you don't, subscribe if you like it, comment down below your thoughts. Everyone have a blessed day as always, and of course, as always, toodaloo.